Craigers, I want to ask you a little bit about this week, heading into Week 11. I know this is one of your favorite weeks of the year. I think you've compared it to opening up a present on Christmas morning, and here are these brackets there. Which games? I think a lot of districts that we've had our eye on all year have kind of more or less been decided. Which games, either from a playoff positioning standpoint or simply from a this will be a great game standpoint, are you most intrigued with this week?
Yeah, I think that's two different discussions, and they're two very good discussions with what you're talking about in terms of teams that join. I'll give you an example. One matchup here in the Greater Austin area that will have absolutely no bearing whatsoever on the postseason picture will be Lake Travis and Vandegrift. And yet, if you talk, as I did to Hank Carter yesterday at Lake Travis, and I'll visit with Drew Sanders at Vandegrift tomorrow about this, they love this game. You say, you really? The reason why they love this game, think about it. They get a free playoff game. That's the way I'm describing it. Because you're playing a team that has a chance to go deep into the postseason, that's in a completely different playoff bracket from you. There is no ramification of it other than, obviously, you hope everybody comes out of it healthy, but that has no ramification, no bearing whatsoever on what you're going to do for the postseason. Get to measure yourself a little bit. Remember how high school basketball used to do it prolifically, and less so now with the expansion of the playoff brackets, but the old practice game where you'd see a 2A play a 4A. I remember seeing a 1A play a 4A before the start of the playoffs because they had an opening on their schedule. You get a chance to see where you are. So that's an example of what would be a fun game. Now, up north, we get to this for real stuff. How for real is Boswell? We find out more, obviously, against Toledo. How for real is McLean? You got two 9-0s. They play Happy, and we know how good Happy is at the 1A level. So those are a couple of those for real games. And then you get into the other stuff, Tep, all the playoff stuff. And, yeah, I do kind of, lick my chops at the possibility of a 5-way tie for the final playoff spot in 19-5A. It is a possibility that it could happen. So all of those things, I think, filter in and factor into what we deal with when we get to the final week of the regular season.